Well, hi everyone. Today I do have the pleasure and honor to welcome Linda A-Roraha, a good friend of mine whom I've known for several years now, since 2017 actually. Um, I met Linda when I started doing contact work. Again, in the 2017, 2018, I became active in CE5. Linda had Facebook groups dedicated to C5 where people can exchange information, sightings, pictures, and things like that. And that's how I met Linda. So we became good friends, and we met other also fantastic people. Um, and we did the C5 together. Linda came to California in June 2018. We had a great group of people. We had amazing experiences. And so, and Linda has a connection which is really quite extraordinary. And I think the world needs to hear her story because her story is really what the future is going to look like, where we are going to have contact with non-human intelligence and our cosmic family in a very close and a very intense basis, really. They're going to be part of our reality. And so, although the subject has been demonized, as we know, and people have been misled about what's out there, it's very clear that there's a presence out there that's very intense. And for those who are willing to try and make contact, people have experiences, really amazing experience. And Linda is one of them. They has uh, fantastic stories to tell, and also amazing even video recordings of manifestations that she's had. So again, I look forward to the discussions we're going to have today. I welcome you, Linda. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy, for introducing me. And it's good to be here. It's good to see you again from the Netherlands. So I'm from the Netherlands, and I was born and raised in the Netherlands, and not totally Dutch, but from my parents are from Indonesia in South America. So I'm kind of mixed. But um, I'm a nurse, a full registered nurse, and also I have my own business in nursing, and so I'm a very practical, evidence-based person because of my work. But I also have a beautiful gift sometimes that I know when people are crossing over that I already know, have some argues with doctors and stuff like that. And but I'm there for the patients, and I'm trying to do my work very well. And I have something that I had since childhood, that I'm very sensitive for energies around me, and it's quite of normal since during the years. And I always felt I'm not from here, and I want to go home. So I have. I can remember stuff from my first year, so which is not normal, and even wearing diapers. So when I was one, so I have some thoughts about those things too. Like how can I remember that? But it's true, and I always had the feeling there is something more just above us, and not from this earth. And my feeling was always I'm from the stars.
So your contact, if I understand well, your contact started long time ago in your
Yeah,
childhood, if I understand correct.
yeah, yeah. I've seen stuff when I was little.
Mm,
Could see. We live near the military airport,
mm,
and I also have seen things coming over and make corners like and go the other way. So I knew they were there. So that was for me normal. But I could never talk about it because people would think you're crazy.
right.
So that's why I didn't talk about it, and I kept it for myself and had my communications in
Mm,
another way.
mm.
So that's
So
in a
is this
nutshell.
is this what led you to stopped doing CE5 when CE5 became more popular. Obviously, CE5 is, for those who don't know, it means a human initiated contact, right? It's
Mm.
contact with extraterrestrials or universal consciousness, whatever it is, initiated by human, right? It's really human initiating it. So this was when CE5 became more popular. This became a very good opportunity and platform for
Mm.
experiencers to make contact, is because, as Linda just said, the subject has been ridiculed and demonized for a long time, and so having the opportunity to really do it openly with a group of people was great opportunity and platform for the experiencers. So maybe you can explain how you got attracted to C5, and you had C5 group on Facebook and things like that.
Yeah, it started actually when some crop circles were made in the Netherlands, and I met a guy, Robert van der Broeke. I met him, but a lot of people will probably debunk him as well. But I have very, very strange experiences there, also
Mm,
at night, totally alone. So I was really attracted to. It was kind of voice, just I had to come. So I experienced things there too, and I have also footage of it and things. But then I heard when I met people, they were talking about the movie Sirius. So,
mm,
and that got my attention. From hey, things are happening, and I'm not alone in this. So from that start, there was Costa Macraeus I met and talked with him, and then it starts like reading a book. You finally
mm,
get to another page. Oh, people, it's interesting stuff, and I want to know more about it. And I finally felt that it resonated so deeply that I wanted to get to know everything about it. And how
mm,
can I meet them? How can I see them? I sense them, but I cannot see them. So, and
mm,
then Stephen Greer came up with the CE5, and that was just a huge dive for me to meet so many people around the world and talk about it and practice.
yeah.
And I did practice even when it was so cold outside, and I was there laying the whole night just waiting and meditating and stuff. Still things started to happen. So, and yeah, also meeting lots of people in Europe, and meeting later on you with other people over there in the United States and wherever. So, and then I started to, you know, telling our experiences and start working on it together, and not only through Facebook but through meetings.
Right.
And yeah, so
So the community grew, and your contact grew, obviously.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is I've been kind of witness of that in a sense, when the C5 really started ramping up,
Yeah.
in popularity. And the movie Sirius you're talking about was the movie by Stephen Greer, right? The movie, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
so this was the beginning of a movement that was I think very positive, for the community. So no, it's
Mm-hmm.
great. And so and you were doing a lot of your contact work by yourself in your backyard, if
Yeah.
I understand, right?
Yeah. Because it was an easy place in my
Mm,
backyard, and I said, well, wherever I go, but they can come here, because that's the thing you can do just here in this little
mm,
Netherlands. So it's not that big as your place where you're from, and but they came. So,
yeah.
and it was always like a voice, like
Mm,
just come alone, just come alone.
mm.
So I did it here in my garden, and all these things, what was happening, were happening here. So
Yeah.
close to home.
So this is it's very interesting because there are many parallel with my own experience, because when I started in the field, and Linda was very, very helpful and very nice to help people in general, to give advice and help people making contact. And when I started, I realized the same thing, that I could make contact in my backyard, so I didn't need to go anywhere. And also, I remember that when I had my first interactions on my radio, I did not realize that this was an ET reply, and it's when I watched one of Linda's movie and videos that she had made, where the ETs were triggering their magnetometer, and I realized that they were, or they could essentially interact with electronic equipment. That's when I realized that my radios were interacting, probably because of them. And so again, Linda was her experience and her videos in the beginning helped me understand what was going on and get on track with it. So that's great. I mean that's really fantastic. And if I may ask also, I mean, in the early days when obviously we met and we had other people, wonderful people with us. So obviously we started using radios as a mean of kind of validating that there was a presence, make contact. Do you want to talk about that a bit, about the radios? And I know you purchased a radio
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah. Yeah, because I had something new to
Mhm.
figure out, and it was with you. I was totally like, "Wow, I want to do that too." When I was with you in Ventura, uh, and um, and I was so happy. I could see what was happening with you, and it was so like those radios were just also a trigger to communicate. So I even uh, went to Antarctica, as you know,
Yes.
remember. And I was just a little bit not listening too much to the guiders, the people who were guiding us through
Hmm.
whatever snow and mountains. But I needed to use the radio to see if they, because there was no telephone, nothing.
Yeah.
So, and that
Yeah.
was so pure,
Mm.
and the radio worked. So,
Yes.
and that was for me like, Jimmy, I have something. It works on Antarctica as well,
Yeah.
and and I sent you some footage that
Yes.
you could see things going in the sky, and you
Mm.
just analyzed it, and it was really awesome, how it interacted with the magnometer, but also the radios, but also the interesting thing is, I went lots of times to Norway because I knew there was a place, Hesdalen, and there everything is magnetic there.
Mm.
So many
Mm.
things are happening there. So I had lots of experiences there, and everything what is there, because it seems you can see UFO flying. There's a lot of stuff known from Hesdalen, the Hesdalen lights, and so I'm always very curious to investigate what is going on and have evidence-based footage
Yes.
also, and the communications. What leads also to maybe later questions. But I know for sure that the radios, I didn't had those radios then, but if I would have them now, I would, and I go
Mhm.
to Esdalen, I would really see what's going to happen.
Yes.
But it really will work. Maybe totally
Mm.
different, but you
Mm.
can analyze. This is your part, but it's very interesting what these things can do and what you showed with the radios.
Yes. It's been a great tool for all of us who've done contact work, for several years now. It's been very useful because it gives us a kind of confirmation there's a presence, right? That's,
Mm-hmm.
hearing us and making contact. And it defies a lot of physics. I mean, I've studied this extensively, and and I showed videos where I put the radios in the Faraday cage or microwave, and the
Mm-hmm.
interaction keeps going. And so these interactions are not driven by radio waves; they are really driven by some kind of energy that we don't really fully understand. But they clearly there's no limitation in terms of space-time. They can contact us anywhere on the planet.
Yeah.
And you're right. I mean, Linda, I must say that everything that Linda says, she can back it up with video footage. She has video footage of all her experience, really. And I remember when you sent me this footage from Antarctica, and radio being active was very special. And it's just it's hard to describe. It's something that we have to experience to understand the feeling, and it's really a special experience. But so this was yeah, this was really special, and I experienced it myself too, in the sense where I've been traveling around the world quite a bit, and wherever I was on the planet, I was able to make contact with the radios. There's always, and it's still happening as of today. I mean, I can go outside today with a radio, make a transmission with my hands, and they're going to reply. I mean, it's still, the contact is still happening, and so it's been wonderful, and a wonderful tool. So this is great. So I think we can maybe shift slowly. So Linda has extraordinary video footage. She's got the receipt on what she claims. And Linda had, quite unique experiences, and we could probably talk for hours and hours of her experience.
Oh yeah.
But so we have to pick a few. Yeah, we have to pick a few, just because of the time. We have limited time, but we'll show some of her experience she had, and she can explain, what happened. So maybe I will start with one video. We call it, you call it V-shape video. I'm going to show the video, and then I'll let you explain what that experience was, what happened, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So let me just share my screen here, and I will put the video here. Give me 1 second here. So okay, and then share screen. I'll share the sound. Okay, let me know. You should be able to see the screen.
Yep.
Okay. So what we're going to show here is quite an amazing manifestation that Linda had and recorded on demand, and I will let her explain her story. So let me play the video first, and then we'll have you explain what happened there. Okay, so quite an amazing footage, and actually this footage made the one of Dr. Greer's documentary a few years ago. But you want to explain what happened here, Linda, and the background of that story?
Yeah. That's I have to, before this happened, well, we have the same camera,
Yep.
and I was in Esdalen. That was in September, and I went into the mountains because
So which country is it for those who don't know?
That's Norway.
Norway. Yeah.
Norway has Dalen. Has Dalen lights. You can look it up.
Yeah, there's long
Um,
lines there, right? There are a lot of activities. I
yes.
saw a
Yeah.
documentary about it many
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been there quite a few times because I felt something is really interesting there happening. So also investigate the evidence
Mm.
based, what is happening. But then one night I went up. Also, I could hear them say when I came near Huisdalen and I went on the corner, you could see the plate Huisdalen. There was right away in my mind like, you come up tonight alone and stuff like that. I said, oh, okay. So when people were sleeping, I was with a little group, people were sleeping, the last person went to bed at 2 o'clock, and then suddenly something woke me up. You have to go up. And so I went all the way alone, just into the mountains where there's no telephone, nothing, you cannot reach anyone, but I was being called up there. So I felt there was a very huge, like a huge platform where some big craft could land or something. But I was there in the middle of the night, and I felt very comfortable, and I had my camera with me, and I was feeling had a feeling that there was something there, so I wanted to film. So I took my night vision, and they work on two batteries, and I was filming. I said, okay, I sense you, so I'm trying to make footage. Maybe I can see something. And then the camera started in a sort of test image, and I said, what is that? So I could not just adjust the camera anymore, nothing anymore. So I took out the batteries to reset, but the camera was still working. So, which is, it's not possible, but everything is possible. Seems they take over your stuff. That's
Yes.
normal.
Yeah.
I had that in 2015 as well, and but I was kind of sad because my camera wasn't working anymore. So it was really my baby. I could
Yeah.
I could see. I loved it to look at the night sky with it, but then I put new batteries in. Nothing worked. The camera was still working, and it took, I think, maybe half an hour that it stopped working without batteries. So put new batteries in. The test image was there again. So I stopped with it, and when I came home in the Netherlands, it was October, and so I told my late husband what was happening with my camera. And he said, just put some new batteries in it. I said, I tried it 20 times. And then he said, try again. And I did. And the camera started to work. So I looked into the sky, and there were things flying, like coming up, disappearing. And I was like, whoa, this is interesting. So they or there, something happened that my camera was being adjusted so I could see.
Mm.
So they did something with it.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, then come with three crafts, and then three things came on the side. So I was very intrigued, like what is happening? What is this? And so I had to go to work. I had my night shift and went to work. And so the next day I woke up and I told my husband, you know what I'm going to ask tonight? If they come with five crafts, make a V shape, do a tetrahedron, and making a cross and other forms. And then he said, yeah, right. He started to laugh and he said, woo. So I had to laugh about. But then he went away, and before I had to go to work. So it's very, like, wow, what is happening? So I felt going outside. I needed to go outside. So I said, well, before going to work in a couple of hours, then I can still watch the sky. But it wasn't it. It was a feeling. It was an urge, like, come out and I maybe it's something here in my brain or a state or an alpha state, I don't know what, but it talks, and it drew me outside, and it told me and I don't even remember where I was. If you ask me today, I don't remember where. If was I in the back of the garden, was I in the
Mm.
front? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the it was like somebody was next to me and said, "Come on, put up your camera, don't move anymore, and press record." And that's what I was doing. And then I could see the whole thing happening, what I was asking. So it came with a little, like a ball with five, and started to do the V shape and make the tetrahedron, which I didn't know what it really was. Could be an octahedron or whatever. I didn't know, but it did things what I asked, and then came in the cross, and then moved away, and to the city. So, and I was like shaking like crazy. I could not even when I came out of that feeling. I didn't know what to do anymore. I didn't know, do I need to go to work? What do I need to do?
Yeah. It's like
Totally,
it's
totally
very dramatic. Yeah.
error in my head. So,
It's a very
and
dramatic, right? In terms of
yeah,
experience, very
it's
intense.
that yeah, that's the thing people don't see, and especially when you have to go to work
Mm.
after that. So it's a very, very strange feeling.
Yes.
But I looked at it the whole night. I had my
Mm.
camera with, and was watching it over and over and over. Could not believe that it happened.
It's
But
quite extraordinary. I mean, it clearly appears that you were guided, no doubt that you were
yeah,
guided to maybe even propose it, right? Did you have a sense
yeah.
that the idea of asking it came from you, or you were also, you
No,
think, guided? Mhm.
I asked so many years. Um, just give me the knowledge or whatever about the universe, because who we are on this little earth, and there is so much more outside, and teach me, just teach me. And it's not going like, okay, you want to be taught stuff,
Mm,
but you have
mm,
to wait.
yes.
It's not like that. It
Mm,
happens this time, this happened, then happens, and they teach you till, or they guide you into. And then suddenly I was thinking, and it came later, um, where did that information come from? Why do I ask these things? Or is something being put in my mind to speak out and react on it? I maybe it was past, it was future, I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe I don't know where I was, or what happened, or how it happened, but I spoke out. I spoke out to
So
Ivo.
so it feels like, yeah, you were guided, potentially even in asking the questions, and you ask for them to teach you about the universe, how it works, as you said many years ago. So it's quite really amazing. It's an amazing story. And then you contacted me, if I recall, it was in November 2022,
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
ask. Yes.
yeah. It was because it was. I kept it as a secret,
Mm,
because it was so personal. And I before Ivo died, he told me, you have to be careful because you have something there which is so special that I cannot protect you anymore.
mm.
Because he was kind of afraid when I showed him the footage that time. He said, "Be careful with it," and he was almost closing the doors, like thinking black men would come in or whatever.
The
you
Men in Black
know?
would show up.
Yeah, but yeah, Men in Black or whatever. So I kept it very quiet, and then Jeremy asked me to show it to the world in the movie
Mm,
for us, Dr. Stephen Greer. So, and he said, you have something important to show. And okay, then I kept it for years.
mm.
And I gave it, but it was still like there is something in it. And I got a very strong feeling, like also maybe a voice, that I had to show and ask you, can you analyze it? Because I
Yes.
think there is something with it.
Yes.
And then it starts, yeah. what
Yeah,
you were
so
doing.
that's really fascinating. Really fascinating. So Linda contacted me November 2022. I knew about the footage because Linda had shared the footage with me, or she had shown it to me um, maybe in 2018 or whenever. But it was Linda was keeping it relatively close to her heart. Obviously, it's a very sensitive piece of information. So anyway, I received so Linda contacted me, and I decided to take a look at it and see if I could find anything, that any meaning to what was encoded or what may be encoded in this footage. And so I started to play the video in slow motion and took some screenshots, of certain configuration of these five crafts, and started doing some measurements. And right away I was stunned because clearly these craft were communicating, or appeared to be communicating, information that also was really closely fitting with the work that I was doing on the geometric harmonics physics, right? Which involves primarily some of the key harmonics of creation: harmonic 144, golden ratio, harmonic 432, and so there were information encoded. So I will share. Actually, I have a few slides here that I want to share that I've prepared for this show. So let me share my screen again, so I'll show what we're talking about here. And it's interesting also because you mentioned that you had asked also the intelligence to teach you about the universe, how the universe works. And in a sense, what we're finding in this footage is exactly that, is again, which match the work I'm doing, because what's encoded in this really all the building blocks of creation, really how the universe works. So let me show you what I found here. So I have some screenshots here on the screen of various arrangement that we're going to see in a minute. Um, a bigger arrangement. So let me get started. So okay, so we see here that configuration when we zoom in and analyze closely. So the first thing I was obviously drawn to do was to see if there was a specific angle here that this sighting was manifesting. So I use a tool, an online tool, and draw a nice baseline here because the ships were fairly horizontal, so we could draw a nice baseline. And here went through the average of these two crafts, and to my astonishment, this angle matched harmonic 144, right? 144 degrees exactly. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. Interestingly, also 144.1 megahertz is the frequency that we've been using on the radio to make contact, right? That's something that's interesting too. But at the time of that sighting, Linda didn't use radios yet, and I had not even started making contact. So this is in 2016. This one contact occurred at October 5th, 2016. So harmonic 144. The other thing we see in that video, that the craft, they expand, right? The stretch, the V-shaped stretch, and then shrinks again, kind of contracts. So I took screenshot and did measurements of these two configuration, and quite amazingly, when we ratio these two measurements, we end up with the golden ratio squared. Again, essentially that this maneuver was to express golden ratio, apparently, because it's dead on. I mean, the math is dead on. If we look here, these measurements, even I did it in PowerPoint, we see that these are the measurement. 2.61 over 1 matches exactly golden ratio squared. Quite amazing. Another view here, we see again the 144 degrees we talked about, but the contracted configuration reveal a different angle. The angle is different. It's no longer 144 degrees. It becomes 103.655 degrees, and I'm going to explain in a minute why this angle is extremely significant. The other thing we see in that sightings, in Linda's sightings, at some point the crafts organize themselves to create a tetrahedron. And if I recall, you mentioned that you had asked for tetrahedrons, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so clear there's a tetrahedron here. We see with an inscribed sphere, which is very important. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. So now, why tetrahedron? Well, tetrahedron is it's a very important geometric shape. First, it's the simplest three-dimensional structure that exists in the universe. The tetrahedron is the simplest three-dimensional structure, and also what's interesting in terms of its resonance, based on the angle. So there are four angles of 180 degrees, which adds up to 720 degrees, and there are 60 minutes of arc per degree. So we end up with a harmonic figure of 43,200, or we simplify it, this match harmonic 432. So essentially, the tetrahedron is a resonance chamber which resonates at 432 with harmonic 432. So this is significant, and we'll see in a second here. So really, the ingredients, essentially, what some of the things that are encoded, and there may be more. I'm sure there's more, and I'm still working on it. And I have made discoveries recently that are very recent. But we had 144 degrees, we had 103.655 degrees. And also, I didn't mention it, also, we see at some point the craft, right, on the video, we see the craft do a 360 degrees kind of rotation. So I noted that as being 360 degrees. And the tetrahedron, obviously, that's embedded there. So these are some of the figures that come out of this analysis, which amazingly, and that really stunned me, maybe 2.5 years ago, and I don't remember the date, I'll have to see exactly when, but I came up with a proposed mechanism to explain the fine structure constant. This mechanism is at the bottom here. And what is the fine structure constant? The fine structure constant is alpha, we call it alpha. And the inverse of the fine structure constant is the known angle, 137, or essentially the reverse or the reciprocal of 137 gives you the fine structure constant. And the fine structure constant is needed to make the universe work. Essentially, the physicists, when they do calculations, everything that relates to electron interactions, light interactions, the energy involves the fine structure constant, and without it, the universe will not work as it is. And it remains a mystery why the fine structure constant is what it is. Current science do not understand and cannot explain why that number is what it is, but that number is needed to make the universe work. So a while back, I came up with a mechanism here that we see at the bottom, which involves a tetrahedron with an inscribed sphere. I'm not going to go into the mathematics of it, but and then involve also a circle with an angle of 144 degrees, which is very interesting. And essentially, in that mechanism or that solution that I'm proposing here, we see the alpha is the one that's in yellow here. That's the fine structure constant. So essentially, the fine structure constant is the ratio of the angle, that 144 degrees over a 360 degree circle, equals the circumference of that circle times the fine structure constant. So this is the solution I came up with, which is very simple. But again, we see that involves 144 degrees, involves 360 degrees. Now, 144, and involve obviously a tetrahedron, right? We see in that mechanism. And so these are all actually encoded in Linda's sightings, right? We had the tetrahedron, we had the V shape, 144 degrees, and we see these craft at some point do this kind of rotation. I think they were signaling this rotation of 360 degrees. And also looks like the crust that you asked for clearly was encoded in there as well. So this is fascinating. It looks like they were answering Linda's request for a V-shaped manifestation. And also, I think they were also answering your request about teaching you about the universe, how the universe works, because these ingredients clearly matches the fine structure constant, which is related to how the universe works. So this is really stunning. There's more to that I discovered recently, actually. For those who are aware, so the Rendlesham Forest landing or UFO case is equivalent to the Roswell, essentially, right? The Roswell is the big event in the US in 1947. But in 1980, there was a similarly significant manifestation of crafts in the Rendlesham Forest. I'm not going to go through the story here, so it's all available online. But my good friend Gary Osborne wrote a book or co-authored a book on the Rendlesham Forest enigma. And one of the glyphs that was communicated by the craft to Jim Penniston, who's also an author of that book. So Jim Penniston touched the craft, this triangular craft, and got a download, and started writing, binary code, which, by the way, I was able to decode partially, which is fascinating. But also, he saw on that craft these hieroglyphs. These glyphs looks like this Egyptian kind of glyphs, right? And one of the key one was this circle here. So this circle, which has a triangle inside, and these dots, these circle within the circle here on the circumference. So it's just very recently that I realized when I saw it, I said, holy cow, this shape match the solution that I proposed for the fine structure constant. And we clearly see here this angle, this 144 degrees involved in the solution is actually encoded here. We can see a different representation here to the right side, right? So this is the angle that's clearly, very clearly encoded in that glyph, this 144 degrees, which is essentially involved in the solution to the fine structure constant. And Gary Osborne did work also based on the code that was communicated in Rendlesham, and discovered also that they were communicating the fine structure constant. So Gary did it in a different way, came from different angle, but came with the same conclusion, the very high accuracy value for the fine structure constant. So clearly, we see a connection there as well. So which is really fascinating, and also the other thing that I found about these what was embedded in your sighting was again these three harmonics, 144 golden ratio, 432, and this is part of my work. This is where this connects directly to my work, because I had discovered this actually even before you asked me to look at the sighting, and we see here that the product of these three harmonics equal to 1. Right? And 1 is really the representation of source, right? Source creation. All that is mathematically is expressed by 1. So essentially, this equation essentially tells us that the source, divided itself into these three harmonics to create the material world we live in and everything that exists. And this is really the foundation of my own work. And finally, another thing that Linda's sighting revealed was this contracted configuration or V-shape, which had an angle of 103.655 degrees. And the reason why I understood why this angle was significant, and again, this is a recent discovery. I think I discovered this one just recently, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. I mean, it's very recent. So the information keeps coming, right? And this angle is fascinating because we see that this angle happens to be the angle that we see as being the apex angle of many pyramids all over the world. From the Palenque pyramid in Mexico, the Saqqara in Egypt, the Doja pyramid, we call it, even the Bent pyramid encode that angle. So this is a very important angle for creation and also for communication with non-human intelligence. And also that angle is even embedded in the DNA of animals in nature. I mean, it's a very, very significant angle. And so they were clearly communicating that angle. And I had a sighting myself back in 2022 here. So we see my antenna array here. And while I was broadcasting the golden ratio frequency, this triangular craft appeared briefly in front of the antenna. And so when I measure the angle, we get the same thing, this 103.655 degrees here. So this is really fascinating in that clearly, I think, not only the intelligence was answering your request for V-shape, tetrahedron, and so on, but also they were answering your request for them to teach you about the universe, because these are the building blocks of creation, literally, which fits in my work. So quite
Yeah,
amazing.
that is. Remember when I did the measurement from this place to Rendlesham? Do you remember?
Oh yes, yes, we did measurements at the time, and there were a very significant figure that came out of it.
Yeah,
Actually, yes,
yeah,
that's true.
because I could follow the lines,
Yeah,
and it was actually also traveling to England and
mm,
to these places. So that was kind of interesting as well. So you now talk about Rendlesham. That's the
yes, and this is interesting. That's where, based on my experience, the intelligence has been communicating information through the path of where they were
Mhm.
traveling and where they were located. I mean, this is at the heart of the work of Bruce Cathy, who's has been a big inspiration for me for my work. And Bruce Cathy is this old pilot from New Zealand who was studying the path of different UFOs, directions where they were going, and he realized that they were going at very specific corridors or specific line.
Yeah,
And studying that, he realized that this was kind of creating a map of a world grid, a world energy grid, and these UFOs were essentially traveling along these paths. So this is this matches that, and so there's nothing left to chance. I mean, we even see like the Great Pyramid of Giza and all the ancient sacred sites
yeah.
around the world, all located to very specific locations for
Hmm.
very specific reason. It's all mathematical. It's all related
Yeah,
to these harmonics and how the universe works. Uh, Fascinating.
yeah. It
Um,
really
so
is. Yeah.
so this is I don't know if there was anything else you want to add to the sighting. There were other sightings you had also that we're going to show.
Yeah.
Uh, so anything else to add on this V shape, or we
Yeah.
can continue?
Which one you're going to show? The
Well,
one with the stopping and moving, curving, and everything like that, or the other one, the straight with?
which one you prefer? Which one you want to comment on?
If you show the footage, then I can
Okay,
say.
all right. Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
go with the one that's doing various
Oh yeah.
shape in the sky. Okay, so let me move on to this one. Um, I'm going to reshare my screen again. Okay, so this one is equally amazing. So let me play, and feel free to comment because it's a long video. I think it's a 3.5 minute video. So feel free
Oh,
to
that one.
explain
Yeah. Yeah.
explain what happens during the while we watch it. So
Oh yeah. 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 That's the one. Yeah. That one came over my roof. I was asking for, you know, just fly over if you're there, and then that one came, and it was just coming over, and then I could not bend with my camera because otherwise I would fall on my back. So I said, come back," and then it came back, and it started. It kept on in my sight. You know how the camera works, and it's not that huge, but it kept on coming back, and I said, "Stop, come back," and then it came back all the time, and it was really doing stuff in the sky and stopping between stars and yeah, that was really beautiful
and so
to.
you had a really a feeling, or you could
Oh yeah,
feel
yeah,
that they
yeah,
were answering your command
yeah,
essentially. Is that
yeah,
correct?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They were just coming back, and it was coming back, and I asked stop, or and it did. It just went on, probably in my mind, communication with the craft, and
Yeah. So did you feel they were kind of teaching you to, or allowing you, teaching you to
yeah, just
communicate
kind
with the
of
craft?
playful.
Yeah.
It was kind of playful, and so I could ask. So how do you do that? How can you move that fast and speed up and come back? And how do you do the? How do you look? So I want to talk to the yeah the person inside of the craft, So it showed me they did everything with their mind. It was not the steering wheel or whatever. They flew the craft with their mind, and I could see how they look and how
Mm.
they were dressed, and it was really. And then I think, oh, I'm probably imagine these things, and then you could hear say, well, what am I doing here? Flying here and stopping, or we are talking, and then it always went that way. So I could see things, how they do it, and yeah, also how they were dressed and their
You want to
suits.
describe? Do you want to describe a bit how they look? How did they look?
Yeah, they look very thin, and they don't have hair, nothing. They're just sort of, their eyes are black, and they say there's not our eyes. That's a sort of sunglass
Mm.
to protect our eyes, and they had a suit. It was totally on their body, just very tight, but the suit was feeding them with everything they need, and to get these speeds, that they did such a speed and curse that could kill them, but
Mm.
because of their suit and how it works, it yeah, it's something. They said it's not from this earth, so you probably would not understand how
Right.
we do it. But that's a way how we fly and how we protect ourselves.
Got it. Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an amazing sighting, and I have to say, the work that you did to record this is, you have to be very skilled to do this, because the viewing angle of the camera that Linda has, I have the same camera,
Mm.
so I have experience with it. It's a very narrow angle. I think it's 2 by 4 degrees. It's extremely narrow. So to be able to follow an object in the sky that goes very fast, it requires a lot of skills and experience. And so I commend you for that. It's a really great recording, which was technically difficult to achieve.
Yeah. And this one came back a couple years two ago, later. Then I asked also to come by again, and I was sitting exactly at the same spot, and it came just within 5 minutes.
Wow.
So it was always also a confirmation for the things I felt, and that was, for me, always important to be evidence based again. So I
Mm.
had proof, and so they just came, but you know, and that was for this sighting. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Very good. We have 2 more videos I'd like to show. So while we're at it, let's do it. So let me just cue the other one here. Give me 1 second. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to play this one. And again, feel free to explain what we're looking at. So it's a 34 seconds video. So let me get started. Here we go.
Yeah.
So again, an object
This.
going fast.
Yeah. Yeah. This object is splitting itself in two. I asked to. I had an object before,
Yeah.
and I asked them, "Can you come by and show me something I haven't seen yet?" So,
So
and
it was.
then they came by, and then one came, and then I have two of those, but I
Mhm.
don't remember if this one is on my
Yes.
roof or on the
Yes,
other side.
I have another
Yeah.
one here. Let me play the other one
Yeah.
here. That the link that you sent me here. This one.
Wait. Yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah,
see.
this one is
Oh
also.
yeah. Okay. This is
Yeah.
turning. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
then
same
it
one.
splits in. This one splits in two.
Yeah.
And that was also something I said, can you do something weird or what I haven't
Mm.
seen? And then the first one was just one, and it just disappeared and reappeared.
Yeah.
and this one split in two. That was some later. So it's always a sort of treat when you go
Yes.
outside.
It's a big
Yeah,
gift. Yeah. It's a big gift.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah. These are amazing. Again, thank you, Linda, for sharing this. This is really amazing material, and I think this should serve as a motivation, inspiration for the people who are interested in making contact. It shows that extraordinary thing can happen, and
Yeah.
there's no chosen one. I just want to say, right? We all have the capability to have experiences. Uh, Nobody's you know chosen one, as we say.
No,
It's
no,
everybody can do
no,
that, right? So that's the message. People are
no.
encouraged to do it. So are you still active doing C5 or a bit less, or you've transitioned to do other things, or what is your what are you doing these
Um,
days in terms of contact with?
yeah, well, it's a bit quiet at the
Mm,
moment. I think the sky is pretty polluted
yeah,
with all kind of stuff flying around.
there's a lot of chemtrails also. I've noticed these
Yeah,
days.
with a lot of. But now I'm often at Ibiza, so
Mm,
I'm looking at Esvedra, which is one of the most magnetic places, like the North Pole, the
mhm,
Bermuda Triangle. Esvedra is one of those, and I'm trying to let myself guide to places where I can get
mm,
information and what it's doing with me and how I feel. It's not so much about the lights in the sky because
yeah,
there are lights in the sky, and it's also they gave me time off, kind of
yeah,
go explore
yeah.
more
Mm,
things,
mm,
take your time to adjust again
mm,
and till things will change because it's like a chapter.
yeah.
Everything what happens, it's not random. It just comes and it's like till you work your book through. It's
Mm,
chapter two, three, and it goes on until you understand.
yes.
And that it's not about our ego. It's not about how beautiful or whatever we are
Mm, mm,
because uh, it's not about that at all. It's not about that I make this footage or whatever. It's just a gift from the sky, a gift from the universe. And if you're open to it and you open yourself to it and let it in, then you can feel who you are and where
mm.
you come from or who we are as a species. And
It's a spiritual journey.
it's a spiritual journey. And I don't want to ever go back to maybe you have to go to school and stuff like that, but
Mm,
it's totally different school,
yeah.
and it gives you more insight about life and how precious it is and how precious our planet is,
Mm.
and
And that
and
relationship really and that's the thing, right? When you develop that relationship with your star family, if you keep nourishing and feeding that relationship, you will maintain that connection, and they're going to
yeah,
keep teaching
yeah,
you. And it becomes really, yeah, a spiritual journey
yeah,
experience.
yeah,
And as you said, it's not only about seeing light in the sky. This is one aspect of the phenomenon, right? But
yeah,
it's a journey inside of us,
hmm,
really.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
they have also. I know that you have received information. You mentioned to me you have received very uh, powerful information about humanity, what's going to happen to humanity, and there were a difficult time coming. Do you want to share any message
yeah,
you
yeah.
had?
It was also in Esdalen in 2015. And we were there with a group and also with the magnetometer that was from Ricky, by the way. And his meter never worked in a group with Stephen Greer. So when we went to the spot where there was nothing, and I have seen things happening there, the meter started just going crazy, just like a transmission.
Mm,
And I had my phone with me, and I was filming the magneto the meter, what it was doing, and then suddenly my telephone was took over, and I got downloads.
Mm.
I could hear what the meter was saying.
Wow.
I could feel what information came through, and and it was not that nice. It told
Mm.
me, it showed me, in a couple of years, it was 2015, in a couple of years, the world will change, and you have to prepare on war. Dark, the earth was getting dark, so
Mm.
dark, or whatever dark, and you have to buckle up because it's going to be a bumpy ride. I
Yeah.
really like in words, and it came through the meter and somewhere else, and it was really showing me like I was looking to a movie, what was going to happen.
Wow.
But I really felt nauseous, and I just felt like, wow, I'm seeing stuff which isn't true, and also it gave me a guideline, and so I still didn't get the answer, but the guideline was, and maybe many people can, maybe some people have those downloads, I don't know, but they really told me not to go into it,
Mhm.
just observe, don't go into it, just go back and just only look, don't do
Right.
anything. And that was the thing, the what they were
The
giving me, the
message.
guideline, the
Yes.
message,
The guidance.
the guidance. So I told this to the small group what was happening, and everybody had a feeling like, okay,
Mm.
no, it was all beautiful and stuff like that. And I said I didn't get a beautiful message.
Mm.
Then years later, because I also wanted to have confirmation what I felt in these years coming. And so these things are always, and for me, like, give me confirmation that what I feel, what I see, or what I experience is true. Show me in the sky that it's true.
Mm.
And what I ask. So I had many things happening after. Uh, what I told you about the lights above my house
Yes.
when they call me out and communicate. Those things were for me the confirmation for the
Mm.
things I felt
Yeah.
for years. So these things are really happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happening now, right? I mean, we see what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
We went, the world went through the COVID
Yeah.
situation. Now, I mean, there's been wars for
Yeah.
many years now, and we are walking on eggs. It's a
Yeah.
very dangerous situation, and the world economy is not doing well.
No.
Yeah. So I mean, we can see that what they told you is kind of happening, right? I mean,
Hmm.
humanity is going through a tough period, a rough,
Yeah.
bumpy ride. And it's interesting that the advice they give you, which is very noble, there's a lot of wisdom, is to not get emotionally involved into it, right?
Hmm.
Watch what's happening, but don't get into it. Don't get absorbed into it. And
No.
that's interesting because that teaching, right, that we create our reality. I think that it comes down to that. If we bite into it and get consumed by it and jump into it, then we're going to be part of that drama that's
Hmm.
happening on the earth, right? We're creating
That's
it.
what it is.
Mm.
Yeah. Because they watch from their part
Mm.
to what we are doing, and they cannot intervene. But if you're sensitive to it, what they are trying to say, yeah, like indeed they knew what was going to happen,
Mm.
but also give you the guideline. Don't even react on it. Don't
Right.
go into it. Don't put your energy in it,
Mm.
because probably it's a call for awakening
Right.
for humanity.
Mm.
and
Yes.
and and and, and it's just like, if you share it, that people can maybe also make that feeling like, why am I trying to, I cannot change the things what people are doing, but
Yeah.
I can change myself for not going into it and be
Right.
part of it.
Yes. Exactly.
I think that is that then you can change more
Hmm.
than be part of the that show or what they
Yes.
are
The
trying to
drama. Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Makes
yeah,
sense. These are great wisdom words from them. Great teaching.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's wonderful. Is there to conclude the interview? Do you have any word you would like to say to the experiencers community about making contact or anything you would like to communicate
Oh
as a
yeah,
last word?
yeah. That's um, just uh, don't just go by your own feeling and don't be just share with everyone. Don't be a kind of boss that I rule this or I do this because you see more ego. Just get away with it. Just
Mm.
be together and experience and just um, yeah, be nice to yourself, be nice to the other, don't judge. And if somebody else experienced something what is like, well, it's maybe not true, it is true. It's a start for everyone, how small it is to experience more and go into the experience, because that's very important, because everything you feel, sense,
Mm.
it's yours, and it's your experience, and you can share it together the way you want it, or
Yeah,
be alone or whatever, and make contact by yourself. You can do it also by yourself.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
yeah, that's
Well,
my experience. Yeah,
thank you, Linda, for
yeah,
this word of wisdom. Thank you for everything you did for the community. I can say that you've done a lot for the community and remains an inspiration for many people. And we'll have the opportunity to see each other very soon again. So that's
yeah.
that's
I would
wonderful.
like. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you so much for this nice, beautiful talk and your work, because your work is amazing. And I think the ET sent me to you, so that's why we met. And you make really, really beautiful analysis and how these things work. So you're really, yeah,
thank you,
just a
Linda. Thank you,
very
Linda.
beautiful person to do this work.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah,
It's very kind of you. Thanks
thank
for your
you.
words. So, all right, so we'll be in touch.
Okay,
Thanks again, and see you next
see
time.
you soon.
Okay,
Okay,
bye.
bye bye. Bye.
Bye.